Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame number 76. We're going to be talking about Jonathan Majors, but I'm also kind of playing with a new toy, sort of. I don't know if it's a toy, but so I found
Tell us
this.
about this toy, Brian.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you about it. So there's this plugin that I found for OBS that essentially it does what Restream.io is supposed to do with chat, but it actually includes every platform. So now, if you guys look at the screen, you should see the live chat, and it will include Rumble. So now, if somebody posts on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Rumble, and on DLive, which I have
But
to
not Twitter?
put on the screen. What? And not what? But not where?
Not Twitter. Well,
Oh yeah,
Twitter
no.
doesn't
Twitter.
do
Twitter does it does supposedly integrate Twitter, but I don't see a place where you can include comments. So if you can, it should integrate with Twitter as well. It's got a lot of I'm still like learning things, but one of the things it does, which is sort of like StreamYards, is like you can feature a comment. So if somebody makes a particularly great post, or if they send a super chat or something, you can like put it on the screen. And I haven't done this yet, but it also works with Discord. So if people send super chows, we can put those up on the screen. So you see the power that we have.
The power that we have in our hand.
Potentially. I mean, I'm still learning it, but it's pretty cool.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. See, I see Mr. 0303 put some, and this is another thing too, because Rumble has custom GIFs, emoji reactions, and they're coming up on the screen. So now those of you who are watching us on YouTube can see what you're missing out on if you're not on Rumble. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, I think
great
so.
work. Fascinating new toy.
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of double post some things because I think it's integrated with Restream and with itself. So Chris Hoff just made a comment in YouTube, and it also went out on Twitch. So I'm seeing both of them. But whatever. I mean, I'll figure that out later. But okay. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you what we're doing. But go ahead, Alice. What were you gonna say?
Okay. So this is my part of the intro. If you would like to support the show, our monthly fundraiser is live. There's 5 days left to put a few shekels in the hat, and it is at feedthebadger.com/support. So take a moment right now and put that in your URL and go take a look at the various options that you can help. And I would like to do a shout out to Meredith G for 100 smackaroos.
Oh, thank you, Meredith G.
Jolly cooperation.
And I'll just use the first part of your email, Typeg. No judgment, but Typeg gives us $50. Thank you, Typeg.
Thank you.
I'm really rich.
Okay, and so thank you both. And if you would like to join our very generous supporters to make sure that this show can keep going, I know we were the first to connect our society ignoring men's issues with its eventual downfall. I mean, who knew, right? Who knew that ignoring the situation for men or actively condemning them as toxic oppressors and relationships with men as horrible, horrible impositions on women that no right-minded woman would ever willingly go into? Who knew that would cause a demographic collapse? And who knew ignoring the problems facing men, the half of the human race, which is most responsible for the jobs that keep our society running, and there's really no way around that. Who knew that would end up biting us in the ass? Well, we did. We knew, did we not, Brian? We knew.
We did know that. And it is currently munging on our butts.
So anyway, if you want to support the show that brought you such amazing hits as ignore men's rights. Men's rights are actually men's issues are society issues. Then please go to feedthebadger.com/support and help us out so we can continue to basically scream our Cassandra truths into the void. but I mean, not as much the void because you guys are listening.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, feedthebadger.com/support. And if you would like to send us a message at any point during the show, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We will get the full benefit of whatever you pledge, and you will get the benefit of being able to confound us. Confound. Okay. I was looking for a word because I was confounded. You see how I was? What the thing I was trying to find?
You were confounded by your own intent to use a word that describes what
I was experiencing at the moment.
Yes.
Okay, so you can confound us at greater length, and you don't have to deal with YouTube censorship, which changes on the daily, and we get the full benefit of whatever you send us. So once again, it's a win-win, except maybe for YouTube, at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And and you can send those tips even after the show is done, at any time, and we will endeavor to answer them at the next appropriate show. All right, Brian.
All right, well, let's get into today's story. Chat's gonna disappear because we are reading this article. Should I share my screen with you? Or yeah, I'll share it.
Sure, yeah, share it. That seems to be the best way to coordinate things.
Yeah, if it lets me. Yeah, there it goes. Discord's been kind of a turd lately, so
douche-cord.
A little bit, yeah, a douche-core. All right, so we have this story. We covered the original allegations a while ago, and okay. So I'm trying to give the backstory. So there's this actor named Jonathan Majors. You might know him as someone who worked in a couple different areas. He was in the Creed films. Well, he was in Creed 3 as the primary antagonist. He was also in the MCU. He plays Kang and various versions. So he was in like Ant-Man and the Wasp or whatever the last one, in Quantumania, whatever it is. And so anyway, he's been making waves. He's up and coming, rising star, very popular, getting a lot of big jobs.
Until he hit.
Yeah.
Until he hit.
Yeah.
A false accusation.
And then an allegation came against him. And
just remember, folks, if you're a man and you attempt to be a high flyer, it can all be taken away from you in an instant by a malicious false allegation.
Yep.
Just that's something to consider when you're considering contributing to society. Good Lord, like I'm being sarcastic here, but is this really the reward for men contributing to society? Like ultimately to become larger targets for false accusations.
So, yeah, it would seem.
I wonder if that will bite us in the ass.
Yeah, right.
Because it's not like they waited, right? They didn't wait. They're just like, this woman beaks off, and then they're immediately, we gotta fire him, kick him off, like cast aspersions, stop giving him jobs. The rumor mill has to churn out, and then suddenly, he's person non grata. On an accusation, and they don't even wait. They're not even like, well, let's just see. I mean, we wait, but we called misogynist for that, right? Pretty sure. That's the usual thing. If you're like, but what? Let's find out what. Could we wait till we see the wheels of justice turn and see what comes out? Nope, that's misogyny talking. If you believe in due process for men, you're a misogynist.
Damn
a misogynist.
Yep.
Damn right. Like, that's not a foundational principle of a free society. No, that's misogyny. Free speech is misogyny. Due process is misogyny. I don't know, freedom of association is misogyny. Being able to own the products of your own labor is misogyny, I'm pretty sure. Like, everything. Every pillar of the Magna Carta is probably misogyny,
Oh, absolutely.
If you think about it, misogyny.
Yeah, all of it.
Oh, God. All of it.
The only way we have to make it to the end of history by tearing down all that exists that we consider to be normal and fine. And so it's all patriarchy.
Yeah, well, we did consider it to be normal and fine, and that was even more evidence of the horrors of patriarchy. Nah. Yeah. Anyway, let's go on.
All right.
Apparently, I'm pretty sure we were one of the few at the time. Let me just. I don't think I reported this. I think this is probably on the news show, right? Okay, so I wasn't part of this.
I did report this, yes.
I'm going to make a guess, and you'll have to confirm if my guess is correct. We said, let's wait and see, right? You're like, okay, well, we don't know the truth of it. Not necessarily going to disbelieve her. Not going to necessarily disbelieve her. Let's wait till some evidence comes out. I'm pretty sure that's what you guys said.
Yes. That's what we always say. And
it was a shot in the dark.
And look, I don't even really care for the guy as an actor or person, really. He was like he's kind of like, they were really trying to make him happen. I didn't think he was all that, amazing as an actor. Everyone's gushing over him, especially the people at Disney. I've seen a couple of interviews. They for whatever reason, they were trying to make him happen. It's kind of like they do this with actors all the time. Like, they find somebody, and for whatever reason, they say, I'm going to make this person the man or woman. It's what they did to, like, countless actresses that were young and attractive. Emma Stone, Jennifer Lawrence, what's her name from the Black Widow movie? I don't even remember her name. Scarlett Johansson. They take somebody and then they wear them out, and when they get to be like, I don't know, 29, they toss them aside and they get somebody else. Now it's like Jenna Ortega or what's her name from Stranger Things or whatever. And that's it. That's just what they do. So they were doing that with Jonathan Majors. I saw him in a couple things. I was like, he's okay. Like, I'm not super picky on actors, but I like that if they have a personality, if they have like something that they're, that you come to see. Like, I like Sam Elliott.
Charisma?
Charisma, but like, it just something. Like, I like Nicolas Cage. I don't think everything he's in is great, but I know I'm gonna be in for a time. I like I like Johnny Depp because he like vanishes into his roles, or he tries to, but he takes it the other way. But I also like classic guys like Humphrey Bogart and Marlon Brando too. So it just depends on what you're bringing to the table, right?
This is even worse for actresses. Something I've noticed.
Worse.
We've been doing. Yes. Okay.
What do you mean?
So. I'll do a brief shill for the patron community.
Okay.
You can access the free section at badgernation.online. If you're interested in joining us for our discussions, that is a subscription, feedthebadger.com/subscribe. So that's how you get to the place that I'm about to talk about. So each day, we've been looking at some old school mystery, suspense kind of, TV and movies. So not like stuff like Poirot. Sorry, I just heard a chorus.
Poirot? Is it Poirot?
Poirot.
Okay.
I just heard a chorus of French speakers just hissing at me when I said
I see.
Poirot.
Whatever.
Poirot. Hercule
Poirot.
Okay. Yes. And some other like Miss Marple, which is actually a really good one. And other stuff like that, older mysteries, Agatha Christie mysteries. She was like the master, the mistress, the maestra of mystery, shall we say. And what I noticed about these old school movies, and we've watched other stuff like just more suspense stuff, the female actresses really can command a room. Like, they have a lot of charisma. In one movie that we watched, and I spoke about this earlier, the main female actress, forget her name, but she's just entertaining even when she's playing a bitch. Actually, even more so because she's playing a bitch. She's just like so charismatic. Is
this like a newer film?
Oh, it was in like the early 80s, but it was
okay. I'm trying to figure out who
the character. It was called Evil Under the Sun. And the female actress, I will find her name presently, was, I believe, it's going to take me a moment to get that, but regardless, she was an older, like during that film, like her heyday was probably like a couple decades before, so she was a bit of a cougar, shall we say. But she just was like very charismatic. And I'm like, there are no actresses like this anymore. They're so bland. Like, everything is so damn bland. It's not even, like, you can really complain about it being woke. It's like, woke is like the vanilla of everything. Everything has to be sort of turned into tapioca pudding. And but anyway, so like you were saying that this guy doesn't really have a lot of charisma.
Well, I'm not impressed.
About how it used to be epidemic.
I think they blew. I think
Endemic,
they.
endemic to Hollywood.
You know how this is the thing. Okay, what I saw. So I heard he was being cast. Now, this was in the context of the MCU, but I think this is like across the board. You know, when somebody does a really good job, it normally it's noticed by people that watch it. It's not told to us like, oh, don't you love this person? It's more like they just perform and we're like, holy shit, that was great. Like Chris Pratt. I like Chris Pratt. I saw him in some stuff and I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. Like I saw him on Parks and Recreation and I thought he was great. Or, you know, for some people, it's just like you just see the talent. It's like right there. But when you have like the media in Hollywood telling you this person is a god, then you become really suspicious because you're like, well, is he gonna deliver or she? And you know, I think Jonathan Majors is fine. Like he's fine, but there's a lot of people that are at that level. He's like, I don't know. He's like Emilio Estevez.
Okay.
Like he's fine, you know.
Yeah, it's like no, seriously. He's the tapioca of desserts, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Tapioca in front of tapioca pudding. You're not gonna be like, oh my god,
tapioca's
no.
good, you know, but it's
Good, but it's nothing to write home about.
It doesn't fit into any specific like, you know, it's not like pumpkin pie around this time of year.
A mid. It's a mid in every category of dessert.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not like, oh, we got to celebrate this with some tapioca. No, it's just like I kind of want that, so I'll eat it, you know.
Yeah, I just want something to finish off my dinner. A mild palate cleanser, you know, just something, nothing challenging. Maybe my stomach's a little bit roily.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just mid. It's the
there.
mid of dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the woman's name was Diana Rigg.
Yes.
And one of our commentators sent us a message, and he said, Diana Rigg is in the top handful of most attractive, lovely women of all time. She's off the charts in every way. Even playing the bitch as she does in that film, she's still amazingly likable. Yes. Yeah, she played an utter bitch, and yet he's right. She was likable, just because she just did everything with such panache. And honestly, that seemed to be a big part of being a Hollywood starlet prior to, I don't know, the noughties. Who knows? Somewhere we forgot about women having personalities. And they just needed to have duck lips and Disney noses. And that's it. All right.
Anyway, so I got a super chat before we get started and a super chow. So I guess we gotta do those really quick before we get into it. So I got a super chow from Meredith G for $5, and she says, maintaining frame number 76. The Jonathan Majors case is a shit show because there are accusations in both directions. But making matters worse is a corrupt district attorney. But recently, the Metropolitan Police out of the UK have been cooperating with the New York City DA or district attorney. That's weird. Why would that be the case? Why would the UK and New York be collaborating? Is it involved with this case? That seems really strange. But thank you, Meredith. Yeah, I don't again, like, we'll read the articles, but I'm not necessarily on one side or the other. I just think the whole thing does seem like a mess, but at the same time, it's like I said we should wait, and that's the main problem, right?
It's the last thing anyone's doing. Okay.
Yeah. Albernator Retro gives us $5 Canadian and says, not true, Allison. Jenny McCarthy is a charismatic cougar. Look at how she pounced on and mauled Justin Bieber. Somehow she did not end up in jail. Shrug.
Okay, well, like the thing is, I wasn't talking about, you know, obvious sexual abuse.
Yeah.
You know, just it's a little bit aggravating shoehorning that in. Like, I'm not going to take responsibility for this stretch here. Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get into the article. This is the update. Accuser of Marvel actor Jonathan Majors expected to be arrested Wednesday in his misdemeanor cross complaint against her. This is like a couple days ago. So, oh no! Don't tell me I gotta sign up. Okay, we're gonna put this in the archive. Hold on a second, guys. I'm gonna switch, and we're gonna get the archive link because
this is so retro. Look at the overlay text. That's like I'm getting flashbacks to like the late '90s internet. all we need is some GIFs and some loading music. You know, you have music, right?
I mean, there's music playing right now. People always ask me about it.
Excellent. So you remember
So
those? Oh wait, maybe I shouldn't talk 'cause you need to do this work. But I'll talk to the people. Do you remember those pages that you used to go to in the '90s, and they'd load up the music, and you'd be desperately looking for a way to turn it off? And that was a classic, wasn't it? Like a classic annoyance. I mean, early '90s internet annoyances are the best because they were just cringy. They weren't mildly threatening and sinister. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm still
Did
waiting
you
on
get
the this to load up.
Okay, all right.
Maybe that's okay. Maybe I will.
I
I can
managed
search
to
for
read
a
it.
different source. Really? I don't know why I can't. Oh, here it is. Here it is. You're right. It is here. It was like
Okay,
there was
yeah.
a bunch of ads, and I thought it was okay blocked or something. All right, let's go
No,
back.
no, you're good.
So the
You were just
choreographer
deep in the ad.
ex-girlfriend, yeah, I was confused by this. The choreographer ex-girlfriend who accused Jonathan Majors of misdemeanor domestic violence back in March of 2023 is expected to surrender to the New York Police Department on Wednesday on a misdemeanor assault countercharge brought against her by the Marvel actor, multiple sources have confirmed to Insider. Major's recent accusations against Grace Jabbari, 30 years old, and Jabbari's original case against Majors both stem from their midnight quarrel in March on a Chinatown Manhattan street corner. Jabbari has alleged to the New York Police Department and Manhattan prosecutors that during the fight, Majors twisted and broke her finger and bloodied her ear by slapping her in the head. Majors later countered in a June police complaint that Jabbari was the aggressor and that sidewalk and nightclub video shows that she was uninjured in the hours after the dispute. Majors alleges that Jabbari scratched at him and stole from him that night, then injured herself while alone in a drunken fall at his penthouse apartment. The news of Jabbari's pending arrest comes on the eve of a Wednesday morning court hearing in Manhattan, where defense lawyers and prosecutors may fight over the actor's claims, but the Manhattan District Attorney's Office buried in the New York Police Department investigation into the girlfriend's violent behavior on the night of the spat. Prosecutors failed to include evidence of the case against Jabbari in what they turned over to defense, despite being on notice of the NYPD investigation into Jabbari's criminal conduct, as well as an iCard and wanted flyer, Mayers' lawyer, Priya Chaudhry, wrote in her motion to dismiss the case.
Okay,
So-
this is like one of the most confusing sentences.
Hmm.
What the hell wrote this? Some sort of lawyer AI? Like, I'm pretty sure what they're saying is that the prosecutors in the Majors case, like the case against Majors, failed to include evidence of the case against Jabbari. The way it's written, it almost sounds like the prosecutors in the Jabbari case failed to include evidence. You know, of the
case again. I understand why it's confusing, but this is because I don't think that it's gone. There's like a case in the other direction yet. There's just been like this is his allegation basically, but like
no, she is expected to.
Yeah, she is expected to potentially go to jail.
Have charges presented towards not necessarily to go like. Well, let's keep going. We'll find out for sure.
All right,
So
I'm pretty sure you're right. What I'm talking about here, is that this was the prosecutors, the people who are going to prosecute Majors or Jabbari's lawyers, failed to produce evidence in when they in turning it and what they turned over to the defense, despite being on notice of the NYPD investigation into Jabbari's criminal conduct, as well as an iCard and wanted flyer. That's what she wrote. An iCard refers to an internal NYPD notification that the person is under investigation or wanted in connection to a crime. Additionally, Majors' lawyer alleged that prosecutors turned a blind eye to Jabbari's theft of Majors' Rolex vintage watch and other luxury items that cost $6,000 to $7,000, as described in Majors' June police complaint against his ex. That's a lot of money for a watch. In an email now in Majors' case file, Manhattan prosecutor Aaron Tierney, so this is the prosecutor, made it clear to Mayers' lawyer, Chaudhry, that the DA's office would not prosecute Jabbari even if the NYPD brought charges against her. We intend to decline to prosecute any charges brought by the New York Police Department. against Miss Grace Jabbari related to allegations made by Jonathan Majors regarding the incident that took place on March 23rd, 2023.
Holy
Tierney
shit.
wrote in a September email, now in the
This
case
is some
file.
serious regulatory capture here.
Yeah.
So so what I'm getting from this, and let's roll up. So now we know where Meredith's super chat was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So the Metropolitan Police out of the UK have been cooperating with the NYC.
NYPD.
No, NYCDA. All right, so going back to this.
Oh, the New York City District Attorney, but that's the New York Police Department. Yes, the DA.
But who's declining to, like, let's go back.
Manhattan Prosecutor Aaron Tierney. I guess that's the DA? Or ADA?
Yes, well, the DA's office, but which... so the New York Police Department is pursuing charges. Go back up. And the DA's office, the Manhattan DA's office, will refuse to prosecute those charges. Why?
I don't know. Maybe it says, but yes, it says, I mean, maybe it explains why, but it may not. It just says, we intend to decline to prosecute any charges brought by the New York Police Department against Miss Grace Jabbari related to allegations made by Jonathan Majors regarding the incident. The Manhattan DA's office did not elaborate on why they plan to decline to prosecute the NYPD charges against Jabbari. So they're not elaborating. Jabbari, a British national, met Majors, 33, while working as a movement coach on the set of this year's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That movie's just plagued with cancer, apparently. She had planned to turn herself in to the 10th Precinct station house in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood on Tuesday. Two sources familiar with the plan said, adding that a day-long negotiation for her surrender fell through on Tuesday. She's now expected to turn herself in at the precinct sometime on Wednesday and to be released without having to submit to formal booking, meaning she won't be fingerprinted or held beyond the minimal time it will take to give her a summons that cites her charges, criminal mischief and misdemeanor assault, the sources said. One new key detail concerning the March dispute was also revealed in the DA's most recent filing. It's been known that the dispute arose after Jabbari spied a saucy text from another woman on Majors' phone as they rode in a livery car through Lower Manhattan. The new filing reveals what the text said, which, with I guess the text that she saw, this is probably what started the fight, read, "I wish I was kissing you right now." And another woman. The woman who sent the text was not identified. It is unknown if she was actor Megan Good, who has accompanied Majors to his last two in-person court dates. Oh, I don't know who Megan Good is. I know that name, though. In their latest filing, prosecutors also went on the attack against one of Majors' key defense witnesses, the livery car driver who witnessed much of the dispute. Majors' side has said the unidentified driver described Jabbari to defense lawyers as a psycho girl who was the prime aggressor in the fight. They put psycho girl in quotes. The new filing suggests the driver may have suffered own domestic issues of his own. That's a weird sentence. The filing says he told prosecutors that Miss Jabbari was acting like his wife does when she is angry with him. The filing said.
Okay, so they're basically discrediting this man because he experienced abuse at the hands of his own wife.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well,
and
maybe.
they're also, I guess, justifying Jabbari's abuse because of this alleged saucy text.
Mm-hmm.
Who the heck knows what that was from?
Don't know.
But that doesn't justify her abusing him. So I'm not where are they gonna go with that? Like, you know, you don't put hands on somebody for that. And then how is this discrediting this guy? You know, she's abusive. Like, could you imagine? Like, let's imagine this was reversed. Oh, this cab driver, this woman said that Jabbari, Majors was acting just like her husband. Oh, she's compromised. She, like what? Like you would say that a female witness is not reliable because she's experienced domestic abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Are you freaking kidding me? Would that fly anywhere? No,
No, nope, not in most cases.
it's just unbelievable. And so there's also video basically denying her claims that of the what was it, the
Well,
bloody
yeah,
ear
yeah.
and the
She
broken
supposedly he slapped her and like cut her ear or like made her bleed out of her ear or something, and broke her finger or twisted it or
and the only
something.
problem with
But
that is
there's no evidence of
video.
that because the video shows after the incident she's fine. And I
Yep.
think that's what this is right here.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Good freaking grief. And then the
Hmm.
DA is declining to prosecute this because, woman.
Yeah,
Ugh.
basically. I mean, I don't know. So things are more complicated than they appear to be, and there is more investigation. But what has Grace Jabbari lost, and what has Jonathan Majors lost?
Okay.
Like just as a result of the allegations. Okay.
I'm
Well,
guessing Grace Parties has lost nothing.
I don't even know if she had much because she's not an actress. She works in theater, but she's kind of like behind the scenes, right? She's on the
Mm-hmm.
other side of the camera doing stuff. So that probably hasn't changed anything for her. And but what happened to Jonathan Majors? So this is from October of 2020. Oh no, it was updated October 3rd, 2023, but it was published in April. After the assault allegations. This is from the Daily Beast, so you guys probably know that they have a bias. Jonathan Majors is beginning to face significant career consequences after being charged with multiple counts of assault for an alleged domestic dispute last month. Following the announcement yesterday that the Creed 3 actor was dropped by his management and PR firm, Majors has also been removed from a slew of upcoming projects, according to Deadline. Among them is a film adaptation of the Walter Mosley novel The Man in My Basement, which Majors was set to star in and executive produce under his company, Tall Street Productions. According to Deadline, a replacement for Majors is already underway. The Ant-Man 3 star was also gearing up to portray Otis Redding in an unannounced biopic titled Otis and Zelma. The film repeatedly had the full support of the artist's estate. Additionally, the Texas Rangers were planning to feature the 33-year-old in an ad campaign for the Major League Baseball team that has now been axed. Major's reputation has been on a rapid decline since he was arrested on domestic violence charges in New York City on March 25th after a 30-year-old woman said she was struck about the face with an open hand and left with a laceration behind her ear. Following his arrest, the United States Army suspended recruiting commercials starring this Emmy-nominated actor. Yeah, he was in like U.S. Army ads too. It was also announced that he would no longer be attending this year's Met Gala. Well, that's probably for the best. Those things I wouldn't go to those. As of now, the Lovecraft Country star, so he was on that show, Lovecraft Country, is still attached to a number of films, including an upcoming Spike Lee movie called The Understudy from Amazon Studios. He's also set to play basketball. Well, so he lost some of his work. A good chunk, though, like something he was supposed to star in. And it's basically like kind of what happened to Johnny Depp, although I think Johnny Depp got it worse. But it did certainly harm his career. And frankly, I think that even if he, like, let's say that he proves his innocence, I don't think it's going to matter. I think the damage is done. And this, kind of brings me back to the thing that I talked about on yesterday's show, the call-in show, which was Inquisitor, which was this, like, streamer that these two people, they tried to frame him and entrap him in a pedophilia scandal so that he would, like, get canceled and they would become more popular as a result. Like, they would be able to raise their profile. And he was so anxious about it and so bothered by it, even though he didn't do anything wrong, but he took his own life. And so this is how serious false allegations are. Not just because of the potential social consequences and financial consequences, but also, like, the personal, like, the trauma, the torture, the psychological torture that it entails. Because it is like a struggle session. So, anyway, Allison, do you want to say anything to that?
Well, again, all based on the allegation of one woman who is looking like she was the aggressor. Man, and it's so funny because we still have those guys who are like, "Oh, men should just know better. These are beta men problems. And they should use their X-ray vision to discover the women that aren't going to screw them over." It's funny because I always ask guys who say that things like that. Well, how do you figure out what woman's a bad egg? No answer.
Yeah.
No answer. It's just that somehow men are supposed to figure it out, and if they get it wrong, they're contemptible. Well, this guy got it wrong. Got it wrong in a big way. And not only did he, apparently, it's looking like, didn't do anything to her, she actually was the aggressor and then got a successful false accusation against him and torpedoed a good portion of his career. Like, is that fair? Really? And this isn't like the average Joe. This isn't some, guy who's,
no,
an
this is
average
like
career.
This is an actual like high status man that can afford a $6,000 watch. Just like Johnny Depp is a very high status man. Just even like Justice Kavanaugh, who is married with kids, and but he's like running for a Supreme Court justice position. That's a high status man. And
they all are vulnerable to this.
Yeah.
And like men without these guys' resources are even more vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just freaking ridiculous. Like, what do you expect from men? What do you expect? Like, are they going to be omnipotent? Are they be able to like just be capable of scanning a woman's brain to figure out if they're going to turn into a psycho? That guy who's recently vindicated the I don't think he's a foot.
Oh, you're talking about the pitcher,
Trevor.
The guy, yeah.
Trevor. What's his last name?
I forgot. I covered the story on the news show. I'm sorry, I forgot the pitcher's name. I'm sure the chat knows. But that guy, he kept all the receipts, but he still doesn't have a job.
He can do.
Yeah, that's all he can do.
He kept all the receipts, so he's not behind bars, but the damage is done to his reputation. And there was recently I found out with this little we watched a mini series called Ordeal by Innocence. It was remade in like the 2018, and it was horrible. By the way, don't watch it. It's just
I don't even know what the original is.
It's an Agatha Christie story.
Oh, I see. Of course, I should have guessed that.
They did a make in like I think 1984. It's not bad. I mean, it's not fantastic. It's not something I would say, oh, you got to watch it, but it's not bad. It's sort of a satisfying, like it's tapioca pudding. It's a tapioca pudding of mystery. But oh my god, the 2018 remake, god awful. Like all of the memorable female characters that some of them were sort of, you could tell they was sketchy or evil, but they were memorable, sure. And they had presence and they had worth to the plot. And I remember this one scene, I think it was at the end, where literally 3 women in the scene are all like having a fainting fit. Like, this is the 2018 remake. Like, one is absolutely hysterical, the other one is like quivering in some kind of female victimhood, like airs or something, psychological problem, I don't know, whatever. Like 3 of them, and they replaced every one of those female characters that was actually interesting with a Jello mold. Like, no, not Jello mold, a Jello, like just a quivering mess of nothing. And I've seen this more and more. Like, these female characters, they don't have anything. Like, they either are like Miss Marvel and, I'm going to blow up the world because I've taken off my patriarchy limiters, which basically is like any moral standard outside of herself, I guess. And like these overpowered psychos who aren't psycho because woman. And these like wilting creatures. I mean, and there doesn't seem to be any in between. And admittedly, I haven't been watching a hell of a lot of cinema, so maybe I'm wrong. But I become less and less enjoying any female character. Like, there was this one Umbrella Academy. I learned a trick.
Oh my god, that's the one with Ellen Page in it.
Yeah, I learned a trick. Which, incidentally, Ellen Page, you're not a man unless you're held to a man's standard.
Yeah.
Sorry, You don't get to talk about your feelings and have anybody care until people are like, yeah, sure, show your feelings, man, but you have nothing to feel bad about, so shut up. Until that happens to you, you're not really a man. But regardless, I developed a trick with the Umbrella Academy. You know what I did?
No.
I just
what did you do?
I skipped every scene with a woman.
Oh.
Infinitely improved the watchability of that show. And I didn't lose anything in terms of the plot. Nothing.
You know, that sounds like a good use. That sounds like a good use for AI to like
Literally.
go through a whole video and take all the women out of it and then watch the movie.
I don't want to. But here's the thing. I don't want to take out women because they're women, because I like watching the older films with the female characters.
Sure.
They're fine. Like they really are interesting. Like the most interesting characters in Evil Under the Sun are all the women. But in Umbrella Academy, I could remove every scene with a woman in it, and the plot made perfect sense, and the character arcs were actually interesting. Like you could just remove them. They weren't even like there was no point to them at all. Like how do you think that this is empowerment when you can just remove your female characters from the story and nothing changes? Like nothing. Nothing. Like like literally the female characters, their subplot is, what is this season's victimhood? And then they do that, and it's just irrelevant to everything else. How are these female characters a victim this season? Let us explore their victimhood. And of course, because they're victims, they're not really fucking doing anything proactive or interesting. They're just being victimized by some shit. Ugh, god damn. Anyway. Okay, that's just a little rant about Hollywood. We're talking about Hollywood, but anyway, so to get back onto the subject, and I apologize for this digression. I'm a storyteller. I want to talk about story-related stuff. It always creeps in for me. Creep into storytelling. Okay, so with the story Ordeal by Innocence. Well, first of all, they changed it so the father was the killer instead of a woman, and he did it because he raped a maid or something. You know, the usual feminist claptrap. But anyway, they had to reshoot a whole bunch of that show because one of the men was accused of rape by a couple women, and eventually the police declined to press charges. And of course, they made this song and dance about, it's just statute of limitations. But apparently, with at least one of them, he wasn't even in the state when it was alleged to have happened. And so it all fell apart, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't even press charges. Guy lost his job, probably lost a whole bunch of additional... Oh, no, he did lose a whole bunch of additional work aside from that. All based on another allegation. They didn't even get to the point of charges. Like, this guy at least was charged, and I mean that very sarcastically when I say at least.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But at least, you know, the police were like, okay, we'll charge you with something. This other dude, no charges. and he's still screwed. Like, what? How is this system fair at all?
Yeah.
Like, what? How is this not a nightmare? And how can you not see that men are disenfranchised in this system? Like, it's so obvious at this point. And you know what? If men's reward for doing anything, like getting any kind of status, is this, why would men want to engage with the system that does this to them? Like, why wouldn't they just want to walk out of it? You know, just do the bare minimum to keep themselves alive, avoid any interaction with women, as long as, you know, outside of the very professional, and always be recording, and making sure you have a male chaperone with you or another person with you whenever you're interacting with women. Why wouldn't men do this? Like, do you know, and remember we listened to that Lauren Chen and Mikhail Peterson.
Yeah.
I think she's Peterson now. I don't know. Maybe she's Mikhail.
No, I think it's
Mikhail Rasputin. Who knows? But like, listening to this, like, how can you not feel any sympathy for the situation that men are in? This guy sounds like he's been railroaded, and he's lost a significant portion of his career for something that was looking like he was a victim of. You can't feel any sympathy for men for this? Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Halloween's coming up. I mean, we've been through the article, and again, I just want my final thought on this is, I told you
Boo.
to wait. I told you to wait. I mean, not that I think you guys are smart enough to know that when these stories come out, even if you don't like the person, I think especially if you don't like them, you should wait. Make sure that the evidence is there before you start spreading this information around, because the media cannot be relied on to tell the truth. So I will see what happens. It's like Meredith G said, it's kind of a mess. We will see, but it doesn't look like things happen the way that the woman claims. It doesn't look like it. So I guess we will find out. Grace Jabbari, if she was lying or not. But I don't know, because it looks like they're not trying to press charges or not allow them to go through. So maybe she'll just get away with stealing his watch and scratching him or whatever. Yeah.
And then falsely accusing him.
Yeah, and then falsely accusing him. And maybe he won't be able to clear his name completely because...
If you're one of those guys, who's like, wow, these are beta male problems. Like, if you just need to... Why don't you tell us what your foolproof method for finding the skank? Like, how do you figure that out? Like, tell us, veil us of your wisdom. Because I'm sure there's a lot of guys who would love to figure out how they can figure out, that a woman is going to screw them over. They'd love to know that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're some dude who's like, oh, that's just beta male problems because I'm so awesome, I would never let a woman falsely accuse me of shit. Like, I don't know how you would stop it, but whatever. I mean, if you're that kind of dude, just instead of posturing and expressing contempt to men like this who get caught in this, tell us how you avoid crazy women. Tell us. Give us, avail us of your wisdom, of your wisdoms. Bork. Okay.
Indeed. Okay. So let me see. Any more? I got some super chows. So we're gonna put Badger Chat on the screen so we can do some super chows. Richard Bier gives us $5 and says, who were most of the accusers when the Salem witch trials / hunts were going on again? Most
teenage
of the accusers,
girls.
Yeah, they were females. And then I got another $5 from Richard, and he says, did those accusers ever face consequences for accusing falsely? Have you heard about this new feminist reboot of the Frankenstein story, where the resurrected creature is an adult woman that has the brain of an infant implanted in her? Someone should have their hard drive checked. What? No, is that real? Are you pulling my leg? Are you joking? Would they actually make that? Because there's already a couple of Frankenstein films with women in them. There's The Bride of Frankenstein. There's Frankenhooker. You remember Frankenhooker?
No, I've never watched.
Oh no, that was like a budget film from like the 80s or something. Want to go on a date? Like it was. I never saw it, but because it's like really B movie quality stuff, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes or something. But yeah, I know about those. Like Bride of Frankenstein is, I think that's basically a B movie too. It's certainly not the original, but it's all right. So, but yeah, thank you for the super chows, Richard. Really appreciate it. Allison, do you have any thank yous or no?
No further thank yous. Just the super chows, and I want to remind everyone that's once again time for our monthly fundraiser, which you can get at feedthebadger.com/support. Please do help us out so we can continue to bring you this enlightening content, give you previews of coming attractions in terms of societal coming attractions.
Yeah. So I want to ask,
that's the kind of thing you enjoy, and also if you enjoy this content and you want to give us just a tip, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justatip. Tell us that we are not screaming into the void, that there is someone out there listening to us that appreciates what we have to say. Feedthebadger.com/justatip. Okay, back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, I was just gonna say, like, we got a little. I wanted to take a couple minutes to talk a little bit about horror, because it's almost Halloween. It's the spooky season. So I wanted to ask you, because I want to watch a horror film, maybe over the weekend or something. Do you have a favorite or some horror? Do you like horror movies, Allison? I mean, you like stories. Do you like horror films?
I can't say that horror is really my thing.
No?
No.
Okay. So you don't. Okay, so you don't like horror films? Like, if I asked you for a favor, you wouldn't be able to tell me, even if
A
it was
favorite
just
horror
like,
film?
Yeah, or just like a horror film you like. The Exorcist, Poltergeist.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh,
Like
the original one from the 50s, or the one from like the late 70s.
The early 80s, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. That's the one with Donald Sutherland in it, and he does the point in the.
Yeah, the point and the re.
Yeah, yeah. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is good. I like that one. Okay, cool. So I got another super chow. See, look, I bought us enough time for Richard to send us another one. Thank you, Richard. And he gives us $5 and says, well, Cain had a mark on his forehead after he killed his brother Abel. I will say that if you do get a mark for doing evil, it does make things a bit easier. I wonder what the symbolism of the mark of Cain is. Anyway, I'm interested in that kind of stuff. Sounds good. I like lots of horror films. I got Lindsay addicted to Friday the 13th like a couple years ago or a few years back.
Jonathan loves Friday the 13th.
Who does? Jonathan?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean they lose the plot like around part 5, but like they're still, I watched them all. We watched them all together. So, they're just kind of dumb fun. I don't even really think they're scary. I like stuff like, if you really want to get messed with. I remember Ju-on messed me up, like a Japanese horror film. The Ring messed me up. Had me like, yeah. Babadook was pretty scary at points, and it's about parental abuse. I don't know if you've ever seen the Babadook, but it's about an abusive mother with a troubled son, and it's sort of symbolic of her abuse of him. So yeah, Babadook is pretty good. There's a lot of good. Slither is good. I don't know. Anyway, you guys tell us some of your favorite horror films in the comments. Are you going to do something on Sunday?
Yes. Like
okay.
Beat Saber.
Okay, we're going to do some Beat Saber on Sunday. So, make your spooky requests ready, like Monster Mash or One-Eyed, One-Horn, Flying Purple People Eater. Is that scary? I don't know. All right, yeah, anyway. Sure. Is it? Yeah, I guess so.
Spooky requests. Make sure that they are available, though, at beatsaber.com.
Yeah, make sure that they exist. All right, anyway. So we're going to wrap the show up here. Thanks, guys, for coming on. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed. Check out the links to the original articles in the description. Are you surprised by this turn of events regarding Jonathan Majors and the allegations against him? What do you think will be the outcome? If you want to speculate, let us know in the comments. Thanks, guys, so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame, and we'll talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.